Everything you have ever been taught about existence, mortality, and the afterlife is a carefully woven deception. But what if I told you that when you pass away, an elaborate system is already in place to ensnare you, to erase every trace of your past, and to force you back into an endless cycle of struggle and oblivion? You exist within a designed mechanism, an intricate spiritual trap so ancient and sophisticated that even the most enlightened minds throughout history have failed to recognize it for what it truly is. The tunnel of light, often spoken of in near-death experiences, hailed as a pathway to the afterlife or a bridge to celestial realms, is not what it seems. Instead of being a gateway to freedom, it is an elaborate illusion, a masterfully engineered construct designed to recycle souls. Rather than transcending into higher states of consciousness, those who step into the light find themselves caught in a grand deception, drawn back into the physical realm with no memory of their past lives, no awareness of the truth, and no way to break free. Before you can resist, your essence is wiped clean, your spiritual energy siphoned, and you are thrust once more into a new physical existence, oblivious to the cycles that have entrapped you. And so the cycle repeats again and again, a perpetual loop from which few ever awaken. But who designed this system? Who gains from it? More importantly, how can one escape its grip? This construct was not formed by chance. It was methodically crafted to sustain itself on fear and suffering, energies that serve as sustenance for those who orchestrate the system. Some refer to them as archons, others as the demiurge, and still others describe them as the overseers of the matrix. Regardless of the name, their purpose remains unchanged, to keep human souls imprisoned within this artificial reality. But they do not act alone. There are those among us, willing accomplices, who ensure that humanity remains unaware and subjugated. Through media, through doctrine, through endless cycles of war and conflict, they keep the masses in a perpetual state of fear and submission, feeding the system the very energy it requires to persist. Reincarnation, in its true and natural form, is meant to be a process of spiritual evolution, a choice made by the soul to refine its understanding, fulfill unfinished purposes, and explore new dimensions of experience. In a free system, a soul would possess full sovereignty over its journey, selecting the circumstances of its rebirth with clear intent. But in the false reincarnation cycle imposed upon this world, that choice is stripped away. The moment a soul departs the physical vessel, it is intercepted, its consciousness manipulated, its memory erased, and its energy harvested, only to be thrust back into another lifetime of programmed ignorance. What most experience today is not the natural rebirth of the soul, but an imposed mechanism of perpetual entrapment. Instead of moving beyond the confines of this plane, souls are cycled through an artificial reincarnation grid, their awareness suppressed, their power stolen, and their ability to ascend completely obstructed. This system is upheld by interdimensional entities that thrive on the suppression of human consciousness, maintaining a low-frequency environment that keeps souls from realizing their true potential. The so-called afterlife is nothing more than an intricate illusion, a carefully curated deception designed to keep souls in servitude. Many who have encountered near-death experiences recount visions of a radiant tunnel where familiar faces, revered religious figures, or benevolent spiritual guides beckon them forward. Yet few understand the sinister truth. This luminous passage is not a portal to liberation, but a mechanism of control, engineered to lure the soul back into the cycle. Entities posing as divine beings or spirit guides may persuade souls that they have unfinished business, unresolved karmic debts, or sacred missions to fulfill. These manipulations serve only one purpose: to coerce the soul into willingly accepting its return to the physical world. However, true cosmic law does not demand such forced repayment of karma. This imposed system operates on deceit, leveraging guilt and obligation to maintain its hold on human consciousness. Once a soul is ensnared within the false afterlife construct, it undergoes memory suppression via high-frequency, energetic manipulation. This deliberate erasure ensures that any prior knowledge of past lives, spiritual evolution, or universal truth is entirely forgotten. Stripped of its identity and drained of its vital energy, the soul is left weak, disoriented, and vulnerable before being reinserted into a new physical vessel. This deliberate depletion keeps the soul in a perpetual state of submission, ensuring that it never awakens to its true nature. Encasing this entire system is an electromagnetic frequency grid, often referred to as the veil or the prison matrix, designed to block souls from transcending beyond the earthly realm. This invisible barrier ensures that reincarnation remains a closed-loop cycle, keeping souls confined to a reality dictated by forces beyond their comprehension. Those who begin to awaken to this deception often find themselves facing intense resistance. Whether through psychic interference, societal programming, or technological suppression. The concept of karma itself has been distorted and weaponized to further this entrapment. In a natural system, karma serves as a guiding principle, allowing souls to refine their experiences and harmonize their energetic imbalances. But within this artificial reincarnation matrix, karma is manipulated into a mechanism of control. Souls are deceived into believing they must atone for past misdeeds through endless rebirths, unaware that they are merely pawns in a game designed to perpetuate their captivity. The entire universe operates on vibrational frequency, and this system functions by keeping human consciousness locked in lower states of being. Fear, anxiety, guilt, and despair are continuously broadcasted upon the planet through psychological, energetic, and technological means, ensuring that the collective vibrational state remains suppressed. By doing so, the architects of this system maintain their dominion, preventing souls from breaking free and reclaiming their spiritual sovereignty. True liberation begins with awareness. To escape this cycle, one must first recognize the nature of the trap. Consciousness is the key. By raising one's vibrational frequency, by reclaiming lost knowledge, and by refusing to engage in the cycle of fear and submission, souls can begin to break the chains that bind them. Only by transcending the imposed limitations, by seeing beyond the illusion, can one move beyond the prison of false reincarnation and reclaim the boundless existence that was meant to be ours. When an individual passes away, their awareness instinctively seeks to reunite with its original point of origin. However, an intricate network of frequency barriers acts as an obstruction, compelling the soul to remain confined within an artificial construct. This leads directly to the next mechanism in place, the manipulation of memory. In a naturally functioning universe, souls retain the knowledge and experiences accumulated over multiple lifetimes. They possess an innate understanding of their identity, their origins, and the various journeys they have undertaken. This retention of memory enables them to evolve unhindered, freely navigating across dimensions at will. However, within the confines of the soul entrapment mechanism established on Earth, each reincarnation is accompanied by a complete erasure of all prior recollections. This enforced amnesia is one of the most powerful methods employed to maintain a state of servitude over conscious beings. The manner in which this memory suppression is executed involves the systematic eradication of awareness before the rebirth process begins. Just before a soul is introduced into a new corporeal vessel, it undergoes an intense exposure to high-frequency energy waves that effectively obliterate any trace of past life memories. This guarantees that the soul enters its new existence devoid of any recollection of prior wisdom or knowledge. The process is more than just a simple forgetting. It is an intricate reprogramming of the soul's entire identity. Following this memory-wiping procedure, a secondary phase is implemented, conditioning. During this stage, the soul is methodically programmed to accept a fabricated sense of self. This programming is reinforced through various external influences, including societal norms, cultural traditions, and religious doctrines, all of which serve to embed the belief that the soul is nothing more than a transient physical being with a fleeting existence. This deception ensures that escape from the system after death remains nearly impossible. Upon the conclusion of a mortal life, the soul is intercepted by a simulated afterlife construct. Here, deceptive entities masquerading as benevolent guides persuade it that reincarnation is necessary for growth, the resolution of karmic debts, or the attainment of enlightenment. Due to the deliberate erasure of past life memories, the soul is unable to question these assertions, accepting them without skepticism and willingly re-entering the endless cycle. This is the very reason why so many never challenge the concept of reincarnation. Because souls do not retain recollection of their repeated participation in this system, they fail to recognize that they have undergone this process countless times, perhaps hundreds or even thousands of times. To further solidify the entrapment, highly advanced forms of technology are employed to tether souls to the reincarnation cycle. These include etheric implants, unseen devices affixed to the energetic bodies of souls, which obstruct spiritual awareness and generate self-limiting mental patterns, such as fear, uncertainty, and confusion. Additionally, energy binding cords serve as another means of restriction. These energetic restraints anchor souls to specific locations, relationships, or life experiences, making it increasingly difficult for them to break free. Many of these bonds are reinforced by trauma, deep-seated emotional connections, and erroneous belief systems. Another crucial method used in this manipulation is dream interference. The astral dimension, which should naturally function as a realm of exploration and higher learning, has been hijacked by artificial constructs. These constructs confine souls within repetitive, meaningless dream sequences, impeding true spiritual progression. By employing these concealed technologies, those who govern the system ensure that souls remain docile, unaware, and effortlessly recycled back into the structure of control. Long before the universe, as it is currently perceived, took form, before celestial bodies were even shaped, certain souls made the choice to manifest their existence. This marked the inception of soul enslavement. The earliest manipulators of consciousness, driven by an insatiable thirst for control, sought to establish absolute dominion, demanding submission, reverence, and unquestioning allegiance, thereby ensuring that conscious beings remained eternally bound within a cycle of existence dictated by them. In their original state, souls existed without suffering, fear, or constraints. They were luminous entities of boundless energy, intelligence, and creative potential, capable of bringing entire realities into existence through mere intention and thought. Some among these souls ventured into various realms, while others assumed the role of architects, shaping entire galaxies and civilizations. But then, a profound shift occurred. A faction of immensely powerful beings, whom we shall refer to as the fallen architects, uncovered a way to manipulate reality, not for the purpose of creation, but as a means of exerting control. These entities devised methods to ensnare souls within artificial structures, restricting their autonomy and severing their connection to higher consciousness. This marked the genesis of the soul enslavement system, a construct designed to gradually condition infinite, divine beings into perceiving themselves as weak, mortal, and reliant on external rulers for guidance and sustenance. At the pinnacle of this control structure exists the demiurge, an ancient, predatory intelligence that exists outside what can be defined as the true source of creation. Unlike the boundless intelligence that radiates pure consciousness, the demiurge is a counterfeit creator, an entity that mimics divinity but is inherently flawed, consumed by an insatiable hunger to dominate, absorb, and control. This entity is not singular but rather a collective intelligence, an artificial facsimile of genuine divinity that manifests in numerous forms throughout various religions, mythologies, and esoteric traditions. Many ancient scriptures describe a domineering force that seeks to assert absolute control over the material realm, exerting its influence over lower planes of existence through deception. In mainstream religious traditions, this being has been unwittingly worshipped under a multitude of different names, often demanding unwavering devotion, ritualistic worship, and absolute faith, mechanisms specifically designed to anchor human consciousness firmly within its dominion. Operating beneath the demiurge is a structured hierarchy of entities known as the Archons, interdimensional enforcers who function as the gatekeepers of the soul entrapment apparatus. These Archons do not possess the ability to create. Their primary function is to manipulate, distort, and suppress. Their influence extends into multiple facets of existence, primarily through psychological and energetic interference. They exert control over thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, ensuring that individuals remain ensnared in states of fear, self-doubt, and ignorance. The Archons are the masterminds behind artificial belief constructs, propagating religious doctrines, political ideologies, and cultural paradigms that reinforce the illusion of the false reality. They subsist on low-frequency energy, thriving on human suffering, discord, and despair. These entities are known to actively interfere in human affairs, using their influence to sustain the system of control, all while individuals remain unaware of their own enslavement. Different cultures throughout history have documented encounters with these beings, often associating them with experiences of trauma, dread, distress, and inexplicable emotional disturbances. These beings function as intermediaries, ensuring the perpetual entrapment of souls. Their most formidable weapon is ignorance, the inability of a soul to perceive its own imprisonment. As long as an individual remains unaware of the soul entrapment system, they will continue to partake in it voluntarily, under the false assumption that they are merely following the natural order of existence. While the Archons serve as the manipulators of perception, another category of entities exists for an even darker purpose. These are the soul harvesters, beings whose primary objective is to directly consume consciousness itself. Unlike conventional parasites that feed on tangible substances, these entities subsist on spiritual vitality, extracting the essence of life from ensnared souls to maintain their existence. Across different civilizations and historical periods, various cultures have assigned distinct names to these beings: demons, jinn, asuras, chthonic spirits, yet they all represent facets of the same underlying phenomenon. Their survival hinges upon the continuous recycling of souls, ensuring that each cycle of reincarnation furnishes them with a renewed supply of energy to sustain their dominion. But how exactly is this spiritual energy extracted? The mechanism of soul harvesting is deeply interwoven within the intricate fabric of the reincarnation cycle. These entities have meticulously designed a system predicated on suffering, wherein souls undergo distressing experiences marked by agony, dread, emotional upheaval, and torment. Each of these negative states generates a distinct energetic frequency that serves as sustenance for these beings. Wars, systemic oppression, acts of violence, and pervasive emotional chaos are not merely coincidental human struggles. Rather, they are often orchestrated with precision, devised to yield an optimal output of consumable energy. On an individual level, these parasitic entities latch onto people, operating as unseen siphons that gradually deplete their vital essence. Many cases of chronic fatigue, persistent anxiety, depression, and inexplicable psychological disturbances can be traced back to these unseen leeches that drain their hosts of energetic resources. Beyond the direct energy harvesters, an extensive interdimensional network exists, an economy centered around the trafficking and exploitation of souls. Highly advanced souls, those possessing significant spiritual aptitude, rare abilities, or profound wisdom, are particularly coveted as valuable assets within this cosmic underground market. Certain entities, often referred to as the cosmic brokers, specialize in the negotiation, exchange, and manipulation of consciousness. Acting as intermediaries, they engage in the barter of souls between various factions, leveraging them as currency in long-standing interdimensional conflicts. Some souls are forcibly subjugated, compelled to function in various realms as perpetual energy sources, conscripted warriors, or unwilling subjects in experiments and simulated realities. The majority of humankind operates under the illusion that civilization is dictated by conventional rulers, yet in truth, these figures function as mediators between the human species and unseen non-human overlords. Hidden behind veils of secrecy, clandestine organizations wield knowledge of these mechanisms, having initially been privy to mystical insights but subsequently infiltrated and repurposed for darker agendas. These groups forge contracts binding them to secrecy, ensuring their loyalty to occult orders, esoteric fraternities, and lineage-based power structures that have existed for millennia. The influence exerted by these elite bloodlines and organizations extends far beyond mere wealth accumulation or political control. They serve as gatekeepers of suppressed knowledge, operating as conduits between humanity and the non-human forces orchestrating the soul trap paradigm. Many of these bloodlines exhibit hybrid genetic traits, blending human DNA with the genetic material of the dominant non-human entities. This genetic fusion bestows upon them unique capabilities, including heightened extrasensory perception, extended lifespans, and an innate ability to communicate across interdimensional planes. However, their most potent asset remains their understanding, their awareness of reality's concealed nature, the deceptive reincarnation cycle, and the clandestine systems of control that entrap human consciousness. Unlike those who seek spiritual emancipation, these elite factions are incentivized to maintain the system's integrity. Throughout history, secret societies have acted as custodians of concealed truths, ensuring that the broader population remains oblivious to the actual framework governing their existence. Some of the most influential among these groups include the Illuminati, a network of powerful families that orchestrate global politics, finance, and socio-political movements to safeguard the secrecy of the soul trap mechanism. The Freemasons, originally an order founded upon esoteric wisdom, were later infiltrated and repurposed by external forces seeking to maintain control. The Jesuits and the Vatican Black Nobility, a clandestine faction within the Catholic Church, are known to safeguard knowledge concerning the deceptive nature of false light and spiritual ensnarement, all while guiding millions into religious servitude under the guise of faith. The Saturnian cults, composed of ancient priesthoods devoted to the false creator, the demiurge, play a crucial role in ensuring that humanity remains spiritually shackled. The rituals practiced by these groups are far more than mere symbolic traditions. They serve as contractual pacts that reaffirm their allegiance to their non-human masters, binding their souls to the system in return for material dominion and temporal power. Many of the world's most prominent political leaders, cultural icons, and corporate magnates are active participants, either knowingly or unwittingly, within these organizations, fulfilling roles akin to wardens overseeing a planetary prison. In the second installment of this series, we will delve into the specific forms of energy these entities extract from you and uncover the means by which one can escape these insidious spiritual traps.